You are the cap for whatever goes on in your store, in your company, in your district, in your household. However excited you are, what you believe is possible, whatever that threshold is.
Hey team, Jim Cripps here with the Charge Forward podcast, and I have a special treat for you today. She is a marketing whiz, and she is the brand boss at BB Print & Co. here in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Amber, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I got to tell you, you guys do amazing work, and that's really why I wanted to have you on the show. Is it's work that I don't think anybody else out there is doing. And then when I came in to talk to your team, they were so excited about things that they had tried that either worked or didn't work or they thought was going to work. And I feel like that's just the spirit of your company. Mm-hmm. But you haven't been there this whole time. It's a family company, mm-hmm. and BB Print & Co. has been around since 91, is that right?
Since 91. Well, yes, we purchased it in 2001.
Okay. And then you were in healthcare?
Mm-hmm. And healthcare marketing.
And what'd you do in healthcare?
I did a lot in healthcare, but it all revolved around marketing and it mostly in pain management. So I did all of the, everything from the patient experience in the very beginning with the call center all the way through to, producing the videos to show others how your life can be changed, and that was a very interesting part of my life, and I love doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, when we first started talking, you said you typically do startups, mm-hmm. and I'm the opposite. Mm-hmm. Like in my business, I really don't work with startups. Mm-hmm. 90% of the time, I don't work with startups because I'm not the guy that helps you poke around in the dark to figure out how to be successful. I'm the guy that helps you throw jet fuel on it once you've figured out how to win. Mm-hmm. Why are you drawn to startups?
I'm drawn to startups because the two, in the healthcare world, the two businesses that I worked with, we grew it from 6 clinics to 63 clinics, across the U.S. And I'm very innovative. I like to try new things, and I think that's a big part of marketing. You have to try things and see what works. And so I learned a lot of what not to do. I surrounded myself with a lot of really smart people. I learned a lot, and to me, that's fun. It's fun to grow a business and then to see it either sell or do its thing. But startups just give me a lot of freedom.
Okay.
And having my own business is. Oh, I have nobody to tell me no.
That's right. Well, and two, I think it probably scratches that itch of feeling or being innovative. Mm-hmm. And that's what I see with your team. And it's probably, it's got to be an environment that you're fostering with them because they get so excited about it. Mm-hmm. And so for those of you who've never experienced your company, give us the short version. Like if you were going to tell somebody in 30 seconds about BB Print & Co., what is it?
My elevator speech.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do everything. We do total business branding. Mm-hmm. So we started out just in small format. We now do anything with a brand on it, mostly for brand consistency. So we do small format, large format signage, printed wallpapers, interior, a lot of interior signage as well. Mm-hmm. And then we moved into vehicle wraps. We do quite a bit of fleet work and, and anything that has your logo. We also do digital storefronts so that everything is in one place and it's easy for people to order what they need. And
that's cool. Yeah. And then you guys have got a partnership with Nascar too, right?
We do.
And that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we were talking just beforehand about what great clients the NASCAR teams are and, mm-hmm. What you guys bring to the table. Mm-hmm. How did that relationship start?
We were asked to go to a race last year, and we went, and I've never really been into watching NASCAR. Mm-hmm. We were on the in the background. So we got to see, what happens behind the scenes and meet all the people. And it was one of the best experiences I've had in a long time. And mostly because the people were so much fun to work with. And it's, it adds a whole new level when your logo's on the car and you get to watch it go around and you get to support the driver and cheer them along. So when we started, with NASCAR that first time, we decided that's something that we really wanted to, try out a little bit more. So we've done a few more races after that. We just did the Daytona 500.
Just a little race.
Little race. Ryan Truex, Martin Truex's little brother, was the driver. He got bumped around a little bit, but he definitely can win a race. He's a good driver. But it's just been a lot of fun, and the people make the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And y'all even have, like, your shirt is part of that partnership, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so how did that come to be?
So we decided to separate the business a little bit, just because going into the automotive side of things, you don't typically think, a printer automotive. So we don't work on cars, but we do brand them. And then, with NASCAR, it was more on the advertising side and being able to, show people the experience and the networking and everything like that. So
yeah, no, that's fantastic. The other thing that I do kind of want to just walk through some of the pieces that you guys are doing. The interior work that you guys are doing is just amazing. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but on y'all's back wall, you've got a printed metallic or printed metal wallpaper. Did I say that right?
It is a metallic wallpaper. Yeah, it's printed on. We print it, and then it's put on like wallpaper, but it completely transforms the space.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
And the one that you guys have there in the office, which we want to talk about your new location as well. But the one there in the office is an iconic Nashville scene. So if you will, for those that don't know, please kind of tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we decided to go with Printer's Alley. Nashville is, a huge printing industry, place. And so it's Printer's Alley is just the iconic scene for that. So we decided to make that our, when you walk in, that's what you see. And then we've got everything from, business cards to wrapped cars in there, and really showing. Yeah, because it does, until people see things, it's, I feel like we're a very visual company. Like we're not just, you go online, you see a design, you choose it. Like everything that we have is different and custom, and it's important that we, offer that to our customers as well.
Yeah, and to describe to viewers out there why I was introduced to Miss Amber is my dad bought his dream car, which is a 1968 Chevelle convertible, and it's beautiful and it's red, but it was missing something. And late in 24, my dad had some serious medical complications right after he bought the 68 Chevelle, and we weren't sure if he was going to even have an opportunity to enjoy it. And we had talked about it was missing some stripes. And I took this to a couple of other places, and they just could not dial in. They could not see the vision, what I was looking for, or they were not up to the task. And I started talking to Miss Amber's team, and they blew my mind when they started talking about an embossed flag inside the stripes. And I couldn't quite wrap my head around it. So I go up there. They were so kind. They printed me a sample, and I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing. And people that see the car now are in the same boat. So, Ms. Amber, if you will, kind of tell us how your team has the freedom to innovate and to do things like that.
First off, we hired industry experts, and that doing that, we trust them 100%. They're innovative as well. They want to do different things. They want people to look at something, and that wow factor, like your dad had, is really important to us. So we tell them to, think outside the box. You guys know what'll work and what won't. And Anthony has been doing wraps for 25 years, and he's experimented with a lot of things. And so there are things that we do that other people haven't even experimented with, and it's because they love what they do.
Oh yeah. And it shows. It absolutely shows. They get excited about the work that they're doing. They're also very open to say, you know what, we tried this and it didn't work. We've tried that and it didn't work. We've tried these 50 things and it took 51 before we found the one that was like, oh my gosh, nobody's doing that.
Yeah. They take pride in their work for sure.
They absolutely do.
And if we can't do it and it's not going to look good, or it's, going to fail, we do say no sometimes, but it's because we don't want people to go back and, and not work out for them. So.
Yeah. Well, and, when we were talking earlier, just in kind of your methodology or how you see your business, you were very upfront about your first customer is your employees. And that is a very mature way to look at your business. So was that really something you learned from your family and them owning the business? Was that something you learned when you went out into healthcare? How did that methodology evolve for you?
A little bit of both. So a few of the employees have been there. One of them's been there. Was with my dad previously in his Nashville print company. So he's been there for 26, 27 years. A few others, 8, 10 years. So that seeing people stick around, I paid attention. Why are they sticking around? They don't live close. They have far drives, over an hour, some of them.
Oh yeah.
And then going into the healthcare world too, and trying to figure out like how can we make this better? And I tried. You can market all you want, but if people don't have good things to say about you, it doesn't matter what you do or say. So I went back to the basics and looked inside and realized that it was the people, the business, the people that you have working for you are your business. And if they're not excited and they don't have a smile on their face, it changes everything.
Now, let's be real. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
It's not at all.
In fact, you kind of got your teeth kicked in that when you came back to the business in 23, you overhauled the whole inside. You got geared up for growth and changing the tone of the company. And something, I don't want to use the word bad, something unexpected happened.
It did.
So how has that been for you guys?
It has been a long road. So the tornado that came through Hendersonville and Madison, our building took a direct hit, and unfortunately, paper and electronics don't do well with water.
That's right.
So it was a total loss for us. But what it did do is it opened a lot of doors. We were able to keep all of our people employed, but we also added to our team. Everybody came together. We all, came up with a plan and made it work. And I always say everything's figure outable. It is in my mind, everything's figure outable. So it took a team, and here we are now, a year and a few months down the road. We're moving back to our old building, and now we have new service lines as well. So we'll have 2 locations in Hendersonville, both doing completely different things, but we're really excited about it. That's
great. And so was the Nascar piece of the business, was that before that happened? Was that during that happened? That storm changed a lot, but was where did the NASCAR deal come in?
We were so Big Studio Group is in Hendersonville. They came in we started working with the city to do revamp the city signage because it did affect so many businesses. So when we were working on that, we were introduced to some new people. They came in, and 10 minutes went by and we were invited. So it was that fast.
Well, and I got to tell you, that was one of the things that really kind of surprised me when I was talking to Anthony. We were trying to figure out a schedule and that kind of thing to get the car in. And he said he had to fly out to wrap a car for a race. And I was like, don't they have local people? Don't they have their own people? And it's because of just the amazing work that you guys are doing that legit. I mean, I think he flew out and wrapped the car and flew right back.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities with NASCAR, and it's not, there are a lot of local businesses that do that for them, but there's also a lot of opportunity for things that we do. Again, just thinking, outside of the box. What can we do to help these people with, the advertising side of things and making it easy? So we do banner systems on the sides of the big haulers, the pit boxes. Also, that typically is vinyl, so banner systems there. So just introducing things to them that are new that they didn't even think about. So we're bringing things to the table for them as well.
That's great.
Like that, outside of just wrapping vehicles.
Sure.
It's important that we support other local businesses too. So we do work with a lot of, other people, and that's also been great.
That's great. And especially if you're in a city where, you're doing something and you need help, the fact that you can lean in on those local vendors, it gets them some business, it gets them some exposure. At the same time, you've gotten a network that knows you, and these race cities, they're, it's not like there's 500 of them. It's a tight knit community too. Yeah.
Now we've got 15 employees, but we can do, massive jobs, and it's because we have, a lot of people that we work with that are also experts in what they do, and we all work together, and it supports, everybody. So there's plenty to go around. Yeah, for sure.
Now, a lot of your business is in the automotive world, and you're a car girl too.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that, and you're raising a car girl too. So if you will kind of walk us through what has fueled your passion for the automotive experience, and let's talk a little bit about Miss Penelope too.
Yeah. I have always had a passion for Corvettes. So that one of my first goals was to have a Corvette by the time I was 25. I mean, I've grown up showing horses and, on motors or dirt bikes and four-wheelers, things like that. So I've always liked speed. So when this, doors opened up for us, I was really, and still am, I'm extremely excited about it because I love cars. I love speed. But I'm also learning, this side of the business too. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I go to work every day and think about, what can I do today that's fun?
Yeah.
Because that also matters. Yeah. And then Penelope, she's also, probably making a mistake here, but, she likes to go fast. She likes the cars too, but, you know what? I want her to be part of the business too. So
that's right.
I'm going to raise her that way.
I love it. Well, and I get that she's 3 and got a little growing up to do, but I think we were talking about this earlier. I think we bought Castle his Razor at 4, and is now in an adult model Razor. I think we bought that last year, so he was 10. And Emily was a little put off when she found out that the new one does 60, 70 miles an hour, and I said, honey, we want him to learn on dirt with a helmet and all those things. Make the mistakes on the most forgiving option. And I stand behind that. I grew up on dirt bikes and four-wheelers and all the things. And it blows my mind how many 16-year-olds have never been behind the wheel of anything. Or they're just not interested in getting a driver's license. And I got to tell you, if they've never driven anything before, I'm not really interested in them getting a driver's license.
Same.
It's scary.
It is.
Because a lot of that just comes with how much seat time you've had. And, these kids today, they're not getting the seat time. And we can blame it on video games, or we can blame it on subdivisions, or we can blame it on all types of things. But as much as I would not own a self-driving car, I'm not upset that some of these kids are getting self-driving cars.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's more defensive driving now. I mean, one of our employees, our main installer, was in a terrible wreck in Murfreesboro on, December 11th of this last year. And he's still not back at work, and it's, he did nothing wrong. There's nothing he could have done different. Somebody pulled right out in front of him, and it almost killed him. He was life flighted, and he's still here today, but it's scary, and you just never know. You got to pay attention.
You really do. And, I had a team member of mine And this had never crossed my mind. I know we haven't talked about this, but I'd love to get your take on it. So his mom is almost 80, and her sister is somewhere in the same range. And the sister doesn't drive, so his mom is the one that drives predominantly. They live in the same subdivision, and they're still on their own. They're not in a assisted care or anything like that. But he was making the pitch to his mom that she needed a new car and she should go ahead and buy a Tesla. And I had never thought of this before. And he said, well, at her age, if something was to happen, we wouldn't want her to wreck and hurt somebody else.
Right.
If something happened and she was in a Tesla, at least it could get itself off the side of the road and notify help. And I had never thought about that, even for an older driver. Like, it had crossed my mind about these younger drivers that don't know how to drive, but had never thought about that for an older driver.
Yeah, well, and honestly, I mean, if there's so much going on with people on the road too. I mean, I like the Tesla too for that reason. But if people would get off their phones and put technology down for a little while, we'd be in a better place altogether, I think. I mean, I look over and see just about everybody on their phone in their cars. So,
Well, and I will say this, Castle does not like this rule in our house, but he does not have a smartphone. He has a flip phone. And he was pretty disgruntled about that. And I said, buddy, here's the deal. Until you're in college, I said, or at least driving, I said, if there's not a different solution by then where you can have GPS in the car, you're not going to have a smartphone under my roof. And I get that is not normal out in the world, but they're just so locked in on this device and disconnected from either we grew up with, say, the driving experience. I don't even think that's a phrase in their world. They're just disconnected from what they're actually doing. So we do a little bit of a game. And so for years, I've taught him, because I can't stand to ride with anybody.
Me either.
I'm of the opinion that everybody else out there is a missile potentially headed at me. And so it is my job to avoid the missiles and get everybody in my car safely to where they're going.
That's such a good way to put it.
And that's how my dad taught me. And so even when he rides with somebody else's parents, which I struggle with, him getting in the car with somebody else. But I said, buddy, you don't play games, you don't cause commotion, because what is the driver's job? And he'll to get us there safe. And what is your job? Not to distract from them getting us there safe. Okay, all right, we're on the same page.
Totally agree.
Yeah, but there's so much out there that that can distract you.
Yeah.
With no devices at all, you can be distracted, whether it is something on the side of the road, whether it's just something you're thinking about that you got to do later today. There's so much distraction without the phone.
Well, and here's the other thing, with what we're doing, I love speed. I can go fast and not get a ticket.
That's right.
With, being in areas that are made for that, and it's safer and you're not on the road. So I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going. The auto club. We're still,
figuring it out.
We are, yeah, because we're listening to our customers. We're seeing. Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. But I don't think that's a bad thing, and we're all so excited about it. So there's only one way, and it's up.
That's great. That is fantastic. So you've got these internal customers, your employees that are driving. Some of them driving. I think Anthony drives an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes.
Over 2 hours.
Over 2 hours each way. And before I ever stepped foot in your shop, we were talking about that, and I said, but that's 4 hours on the road. Part of it was I was in disbelief. I was thinking an hour each way. And so I reiterated, that's 4 hours. And he said, yeah. He said, it's the best place I've ever worked. I was like, okay. And he goes, because I knew where he had worked before. And he said, I will gladly drive the additional 2 hours a day to do what I do right now, where I do it. And at that moment, I was going to have to come to your shop no matter what, whether you guys did the car or not. I was going to have to come like find out what's going on at BB Printing Co. And everybody there is just excited to be there. So backing up a little bit, your family buys this business in 2001. Mm-hmm. It's a printing shop. Was there a lot of innovation that happened over that 25 years before you came back to the business, or was that just the spirit of your family, or I guess how do you see that happen?
Yeah, that's really what kept the business alive, was, you know, taking it from you know, the old printing press. That was the other thing that we had. You know, there were no digital printers, and when those came out, you know, my mom was right on top of buying them and staying ahead, and digital changed everything. Mm-hmm. You know, you didn't have to run everything on a press anymore. And, you know, the interesting thing about our business is printing, everything has gone up in price. Printing and signs have gone down.
Oh, yeah.
Vehicle wraps haven't, because material, and it's a labor and it's a skill that not a lot of people have, or, you know, are really good at. But as far as the printing and signs, it's been interesting because prices keep dropping. Mm-hmm. So digital did that, you know, and now digital signage is doing that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I even remember
changing parts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we went back probably to about the time the business started, so if we went back to say 91, mm-hmm. most billboards were still painted, which back then just seemed normal. Now seems crazy that somebody would paint a 30-foot billboard, but that's how they were done. Mm-hmm. And so I think a lot of it is the innovation that has happened, not just digital, but the innovation of the materials that are available, the strengths and weaknesses of the materials. Mm-hmm. You know, even you know, we talk about vehicle wraps have not come down in price, but there has been a lot of innovation in the materials.
Absolutely.
You know, I think of the first wraps, and they were a train wreck.
Oh, yeah.
And these days, I mean, you've really got high-tech materials that are being installed, and obviously you know way more about this than I do, but, you know, materials that don't trap air the way that past materials did, right, that don't remove your factory finish when you pull them off, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And
we do have, you know, there's quite a few distributors of, you know, different materials, and honestly, Avery has really stepped up, and you know, we use the higher end materials that last and color pops on, things like that. But there's a perception about certain brands that, you know, isn't correct, so we try to educate people on that too.
Sure.
But yeah, it's definitely come a long way.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite project y'all have worked on?
My favorite project. There's been a lot of good ones.
Okay. You can highlight a couple if you want to.
Yeah, I've enjoyed Gaylord. Watching that transformation happen. So, you know, putting up pictures for people to see what it's going to look like, and sure. That's been a big production and a lot of fun. We love doing the, you know, the fun things like the stripes on your dad's car. Those are the stories behind those are fun for us. But the fleets have also been fun, because Anthony also designs. Yeah. So he's got, for him to be able to put a design, or, you know, on a Nascar or anything, for him to be able to design things for people, and then his favorite part is watching them pick the car up, you know. Oh, yeah. So I don't know that there's a specific project, sure. Because we've done so many things, and again, this is a new service line for us. They've all been different. They've all been a lot of fun. Well,
and so much of what y'all are doing is custom.
It is, yeah.
You know, it's almost like, and I know I kind of came at you sideways earlier when I was telling you about what a lot of people know me about, or know me for, and that's Guinness World Record for bowling backwards.
Yes.
For me, it is the look of wonder that is usually reserved for children when they see something for the first time. And for me, when a 70-year-old sees me throw a trick shot backwards and they're just in disbelief that what they just saw with their eyes is actually real. I feel like that's probably the same thing you guys experience when somebody shows up, and we all have in our head what something's going to look like. But I feel like your team is really adept to be able to exceed those expectations to where it's better than you even had it in your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of times that customers come in and have a vision, mm-hmm. but they don't know what they need. They think they know what they want, and then we throw things out there, and there's a lot of different options, and we do try to let people know mm-hmm. what would be better,
right?
What would be really cool, and it's up to them.
Yeah, well, it's fun, and it allows your team to have fun, mm-hmm. and at the same time, that's probably what keeps you coming back. We've talked several times about the fact that you love startups. Mm-hmm. That freedom to experiment, that freedom to do what others are not, or to innovate, mm-hmm. is what keeps you interested in the business.
It is. Always trying new things.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we're going into what was the old space, but is now brand new. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that building. Yeah.
So we are taking all of our production back over there. So everybody has been literally working in a basement for, over the last year. Mm-hmm. So they have a brand new space for all of their new equipment, their new offices. I'm really excited about that. So we'll have everything from small format to our storefronts, fulfillment, mm-hmm. There. And then we will have our vehicle wrap division at 777.
Gotcha.
A mile down the road. So, yeah.
That's good. And now everybody's going to have more space.
Yes.
And we've got new equipment.
Yes.
That's going to be good.
Yes.
And, what do people typically come to you for? Do they have an idea? Have they had a bad experience somewhere else? Do they just hear about you? Mm-hmm. Because with everything that you guys do, I think the fact that you call yourself and others refer to you as the brand boss mm-hmm. is absolutely spot on. But how do they end up at your doorstep?
A lot of we do some marketing, mm-hmm. And we strategically place our logos around. People don't realize that they're seeing them often, but they mm-hmm. are, and that matters. But a lot of it's word of mouth, and a lot of the customers that we do have, we call them our partners. Mm-hmm. They've been with us for a very long time, and they recommend people. So word of mouth is probably our biggest thing, which is good. That's what I want. That's what I would prefer.
Yeah. Well, and that's how I got connected to you guys.
Yeah.
Don Napier over at Import Alliance. Mm-hmm. I told him what I was trying to get done mm-hmm. after being disappointed in Clarksville with someone that was not able to do what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And then I was really just let down. Where you guys exceed expectations, I'm just going to put this out there, and I'm not going to name names, but when they weren't able to do it, I went to go pick up the car, and now keep in mind, we're talking about a 68 Chevelle convertible. They left it sitting in the front parking lot running.
Wow.
So I pulled up and just got into the car, but I sat there for a moment just thinking, are you kidding? Anyway, but it's a totally different experience with your team. They care. They want to get the customer excited. They want to know about the project. Why are we doing this? Who's it for? All the things that you wish somebody would ask, your mm-hmm. team asks.
A lot of people, one thing that a lot of the team has in common too, and I've heard this from multiple, from quite a few of them, is mm-hmm. what's your favorite part about Christmas? And it's watching everyone else open the gifts. And uh-huh. so we have a lot of giving people mm-hmm. on our team too. And I think that makes a difference as well. They're giving, they want to do good things for people, and it's that reaction that they're looking for. So that motivates the team, and I think that's great.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. What are you excited about that's coming up? What gets you fired up in the morning? I know it's the innovation that you guys are doing, but is there something on the horizon that you're chasing, or that you're like, oh my gosh, in May this is going to happen and it's going to be fantastic?
This year since we're moving back and we're still, testing the waters in certain areas, we're really taking this year to decide, where we want to go and who we want to be as a company. We've got the core and the foundation done. Now we need to figure out, where are we going? And that's probably the most important thing, that we all know where we're going, so that we're all going in the same direction.
Yeah.
And right now it's, providing quality products for people, great customer service. And we'll know by the end of the year, what our plan is, and so that we can hit the ground running next year.
Yeah, I love it. One of the areas, and you may already be doing this, but I think because Nashville is so big in the space of Airbnbs that have a theme, whether it's country, whether it's whatever theme that they have made, I see a lot of work and a lot of, custom murals and that kind of stuff. Is that a space that you guys are in currently, or is that a space that everybody needs to come to you for now?
Again, it's one of those things that people don't realize that we do. And there's been a few interior designers come in and look at the wall and go, how'd you do that? I want to do a bathroom really cool. Or I want to do, the living room wall really, really neat like that. That changes the room. It transforms the space. So yeah, there's definitely a market for that. And we have all the installers to do it. We print it, and it's like anything else. You just wouldn't think about that.
Yeah.
So
everybody out there that has a great Airbnb, whether it's downtown, whether it's at the lake, whatever it is, if you're in Middle Tennessee, Amber, what's y'all's radius? I know you guys fly for some NASCAR partnerships and that kind of stuff, but what is a good expectation for? It's a fit for you guys. It's usually a fit for the customer. What kind of radius from Hendersonville?
For our day-to-day, anywhere in Tennessee, really, or I'd say, as far as a radius, I don't know. We do nationwide.
Yeah.
We have installers all over the place, and it's, stadiums.
Right.
They're all over the place. So, there's a lot of big projects that we'll do, and go all over. But I would say, 200-mile radius. We just don't have a problem traveling. Our people drive pretty far anyway, so we're covering a huge area no matter what.
There's a chance that the installer's near you already. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Well, I also think about corporate spaces, and I know you guys are doing a lot of stuff with Gaylord, and you do some stuff with NASCAR and some other great partners. But with as much industry, or not just industry, but as many businesses that are moving to Nashville and are building out spaces, and they want them to be custom spaces. They want them to feel inviting. I absolutely think that's a great fit for you all, because you're doing things that, you could do them other ways, but I feel like they would be cost prohibitive. They'd be one-offs, and it would be kind of hard to visualize on the front end versus, because a lot of what you're doing, almost all of it's digital, before it goes onto the wall, you can get their approval. Is this what you like? Is this, is this what we're all ready for?
A lot of times these larger businesses coming in, we'll go in there and look at the space, and they'll, ask for recommendations. But working on the outside of the business with other customers and kind of figuring out what we needed to offer and how we needed to do things. We work with a lot of different, marketing companies that they've already hired, or that is their expertise, is to come up with how it needs to look, the design, all of that, and then they bring us in and say, okay, here's exactly how we want it, and we bring it to life.
I love it.
Yeah, it's not very often that we're not working with a marketing team or somebody else with these companies, but it works. It works well.
They've put the time and effort behind the marketing plan. Now Correct. They need somebody to help bring it to life.
Yes. So we'll come in and do that. So, even if you have a whole, I know exactly what I want, this here and that here. that's what we'll do. We'll come in and make it happen.
Yeah, that's great. What is something unexpected throughout your career? And obviously the storm was one, but what's something else that was unexpected and you had to work your way through it?
We're all getting in that wreck. I mean, just right in the middle of everything. And, him being a full-time installer on site and, again, our partners, how can we help? They all came and helped, and we haven't missed a beat. And as soon as he can come back and start right where he left off. That was another really tough time.
Yeah.
But really getting everybody through this, and making sure that they're okay. And there's been so many things that I could call roadblocks, but there's been so many positive things that, keeping a positive mindset has been everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Well, that at its core, that's kind of the spirit of the Charge Forward podcast is people who default to charging forward when everybody else would give up. And, a lot of times it ends up being entrepreneurs because we take a lot of rejection and we just keep pushing.
Yep.
And, but sometimes that's going to be somebody in their health journey. Sometimes it's going to be somebody in, something that impacted their life, and other people it would have just been too much for. But, I find comfort in knowing that God doesn't give us anything more than what we can handle. And sometimes we've got to go through that in order to really learn what we're made of.
Yeah, and it's it's not all it's actually not easy a lot of the time, but keeping that positive mindset and just figuring out your way and navigating through things, and having the mindset of this is happening so that I'll be stronger, and I know what to do next time, or like I said, I learned a lot of what not to do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it also gives you a lot of confidence because
It does.
you've been through it. So you've been tested. You know what you're capable of. And confidence is just basically remembering what you've been through and the fact that you came out on the other side so that you can go through the next thing.
Well, and a lot of our people, including myself, have started at the ground level, and so we know, what should happen and how things need to happen. And on our wall, I mean, in the very, very top, failure is not an option, and that is one thing that Anthony brought. We charge forward.
That's right, absolutely. Well, do you know Giannis Las Manos, Corsair Detail?
I do.
So,
well, I don't know him. I've heard of him, and I've heard good things about him.
Okay, well, I need to introduce y'all. Giannis was on a few months ago, and he shared it's a Russian saying, roughly translated, whatever shit you're going through today is going to seem like nothing tomorrow.
Yep.
Because once the next wave hits, you're going to be like, oh, last time was nothing. Now I'm going through it.
Yes.
And I do think that us being tested is what allows us to continue pushing, continue not settling, continue saying we're not going to allow ourselves to fail, because you only fail when you stop.
Well, and we surround ourselves with those people.
Yeah.
Too. When everybody is lifting each other up, it's a lot easier to get through hard times.
Yeah.
And that was another thing I learned. Don't try to do it alone all the time. There's so many people that want to help you and see you be successful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was a hard one though, because it took me a while to realize that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure you learned a lot of these along your path, because correct me if I'm wrong, on the healthcare side of things, you guys started with 3 to 6 locations and grew it to over 60. Is that right?
We had 6 to 64 actually.
Okay.
Yeah, in 12 states. So
that's fantastic.
it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And that was over the course of how many years?
5 years.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
which most of that happened in 3 years.
So basically 2 locations a month during those 3 years, almost.
It was a lot, and it was a very strong team, and it made all the difference.
Yeah. And I know you said that the patient stories was a big piece of that. How did that come to play? Like, what was that something somebody else thought up? Was that something you brought to life? How did that come to be?
So my 2 main mentors in life are my mom and Deb Miller. And Deb was a chief experience officer. So her title was CXO. She did a lot in healthcare. She's done a lot around. But she taught me so much about how important the patient experience is. And so when we, started from walking in and telling that front desk person, like, hey, your smile makes all the difference in the world. It sets the tone. And then following that through with the patient's journey and how was it when you started? Were you comfortable? Did you feel like there was hope? And then filming all the way through to where they can walk again. They can, a guy that retired couldn't move and he's building boat docks again. Like, it's the little things that so many people take for granted, and you don't realize it until you see somebody that's like, I can tie my shoes. I can plant a flower. Yeah. The thing that we take for granted. Exactly. They are elated to be able to experience again. Yes. And I think that was so good for me to experience and see, because it is easy to get off, track and not think about those little things. So, yeah. That's probably the most gratifying thing that I've done. Yeah. Well, I think across the board, regardless of what type of business we're in, we see that. But I have seen it a lot in healthcare. So much so, one of the things that I do periodically is I help a physician who's looking to exit, grow their business to the point where it's really worth something. Because most doctors became doctors and owned a practice because they didn't want to work for somebody else. And some of them are fantastic business people, and some of them really just kind of own their job. And they think that at the end of their career, their client list is going to be worth a lot of money. And it's really not. They've got to start growing I tell people 3 to 5 years before they want to exit, so that they can bring other doctors in. They start taking a step back to running the business versus being the practitioner. Yeah. And I think that the front desk is one of the places that they miss. And it's so much so I had this conversation probably 2 years ago with a fantastic group of people, but they were still of the mindset that there's a clerk at the front desk. And I said, you've got to look at that person as a host. They are hosting this party. What does a host do? They make you feel welcome. They introduce you to people. They have a smile. They put your coat away. All the things in order to make you feel like you're in the place you're supposed to be. That is far different than the not paying attention to you. Next. In so many doctors' offices, so many people in the medical field, in my opinion, get that wrong. How did y'all get it right? We looked at it from the patient's perspective. I'll tell you that the reason that I actually walked away from healthcare and completely got out of it was because that is such a hard thing to change. And, with private equity coming in and buying, or not buying, just getting involved in healthcare, in my opinion, is not the way that it should be, because then it comes down to the dollar. And really, it should be about the patient, and the money follows. Unfortunately, healthcare is a mess. It just is. But what we did is focused on the patient experience and how we could enhance that. And that's what it was all about. And it did. I mean, the money did follow because they kept coming back. They wanted to get better. They had hope. So everything, like I said, from the front desk smiling to the providers sitting down, touching their shoulder, like the little things that make the big difference for people to feel comfortable. It's their health. It's their life. Well, I feel like so much of that is tied into that. When you start talking about your own mortality, you start thinking about you not being here, or if you can get through this, those types of things. You're looking for signs. You're looking for signs that tell you you're doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing. And when somebody smiles at you, makes you feel welcome, those are signs, or green lights. Like, okay, I'm in the right place. I'm with the right people. And when somebody doesn't make you feel that way, when you're not sure if you're in the right place, you're not sure where you are on the waiting list, they don't look at you when they talk to you, you feel like you're burdening them to ask a question, those are all red lights. Yeah. And they're flashing at you. And so if you are in healthcare and you
care about what you're doing, sending those green lights is critical. But so many people forget. So, or they don't care. I don't know. Or they've been desensitized to it. And it can happen in any industry. You know, I was in wireless for 25 years. And I had to start reminding our team that, yes, you may sell 10 phones a day. And this may be the most monotonous thing that you do. But that person gets a new phone every year, every other year. If they're a little bit older, maybe 3 or 4 years. So this is an exciting and scary time. Is it going to work like my old one did? Am I going to lose things? Like, should I have not even come in here today? And it's up to us to foster that excitement and foster that hope that today I did what I was supposed to do today. And I think the same thing is true in a lot of different industries, but especially in healthcare.
Yeah.
So
yeah, empathy is huge too. We had to do a lot of education on that, you know, and honestly, like I was telling you, a lot of the doctors I work with are anesthesiologists. They're not trained to work with people. They're trained to work with people that are not awake.
That's right.
And so, you know, the simple thing, or what I would think is simple, isn't simple for them, which is talking and looking at them in the eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of education. I think training is also so important. It's hard for people to do their job when they don't know expectations, when they don't know or don't think about certain things. And bringing back, you know, Deb that I mentioned.
Yeah.
She taught me so much of that, and just different perspectives, and just so positive about, you know, who would I have narrate something? Deb Miller, because it would be positive. It would be exciting, you know.
Yeah.
And it matters.
It absolutely matters. You know, I think just even, you know, Penelope's 3, so you got a little while before you have to experience this. But, you know, my son went to middle school this year. And so you do the parent night where you come out and they introduce you to what it is to be at the middle school. And when I tell you that it was the worst display of being inept at your job, that's an understatement. The first thing that happened is they welcomed everybody in. You know, thanks for coming out. We're excited to see so many people. How many of you are excited about getting a locker? And I'm like, okay, this is going good. And, you know, all the kids raised their hand. And then they said, if that's what got you excited, you need to settle down because lockers are not that exciting. And on top of that, don't talk your parents into buying stickers or organizers or any of that stuff, because it's going to break and you're going to get upset, and then you're going to look at us and we're going to say, we told you so. I wanted to yank my kid out of there right then. The next thing they did is they went into the disciplinary action policy. And I'm looking around like, are y'all kidding? This is how you introduce people to middle school. Because we've spent weeks and months pubbing this up as this is a good thing, it's exciting, and you've sucked all the wind out of it in the first 2 minutes.
And scared everybody.
Yep. And I just think, again, that's in education. We've talked about it in healthcare. We've talked about it in your business and wireless. I mean, it happens all around us. And we both know this is 100% true. If you want to wow people, just take care of them. Just treat them like they were your best friend or your parent or whatever.
Listen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, along the way, besides Miss Deb, who's been a great mentor to you?
My mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's, we're a lot alike in the same way, and in a lot of ways. I mean, this is exactly like Charge Forward describes her. She's a very strong woman. So is my grandmother, which she's 103.
Oh my goodness.
She's still going strong.
She's a force to be reckoned with. 103. So y'all got, is that 5 generations? 4 generations?
4.
4? That's awesome.
Yeah. But she just being there, and then I didn't see it. You know, when you're younger, it's like, what are you doing? I don't like this. And you look back and you're like, that I really learned some valuable lessons from that, and I still carry it on today. And that's,
Yeah,
You
they were,
make-
they were
you-
getting you ready.
yes, they were. Yeah, and my dad, he had the larger companies in Nashville, and sold those, and then my mom decided to just do her own thing in Hendersonville, and that's when we started that. So he's not involved in this part of the business, but I think that's been the best thing for everybody. He did his thing, we did ours, and
That's cool.
it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's wired differently, and so it's cool to see how it took shape.
And they're excited.
Yeah,
They're excited. I want to make sure that my parents, they've worked so hard their whole life, I want to make sure that there's a strong company moving forward, and that they can retire and enjoy the rest of, their years traveling, and, enjoy it.
well, they want to be able to brag on you too.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
they do, and it feels good, but I also don't like spotlight, so.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. Now, what do you mean you don't like the spotlight? Because your C8 Corvette really blends in. Nobody's going to see you coming in a bright pink C8 Corvette. So that really tells me you want to blend in.
Well, a limo tint on the windows helps with that, and I do not roll them down, and I do not take the top out. It is just for marketing purposes, just saying. But
And for going fast.
well, yeah.
It's all right. That's good.
We're actually going to take it up to, we're working on taking it up to the dealership, because a lot of the C8s they're trying to get rid of, people don't like the color. So again, they don't realize, like, that was a black car.
Yeah.
And it's pink now, and you can do that. So
Yeah. Well, and
good.
I do think that people kind of get stuck in that. It's not the right color. Is it the right deal? Do you like most of it? Because we can change the color and it can be a custom color.
oh, there's so many.
Yeah.
So many.
And now, so correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe you guys are even tinkering with or dialing in printing on color.
Again, we're trying different things. Yes, there's some materials that you're not supposed to be able to print on. There's also, embossed things that you're not supposed to do. But we've figured out how to do it to, again, give it that cutting edge look, and and it's just different. You know, when people see some of our stuff, they're like, wow.
It is like, wow.
Yeah.
It really is. And I know I've said it several times, and this may just seem like a pub piece for your company, but when I tell you that I was shocked at what you were willing to talk about doing, and then the fact that you were able to do it better than what I had thought of in my head is not I'm not misstating that at all. It's fantastic. Even when I showed it to my dad, and he's wheeling out there in a wheelchair to take a look at it. He's got a flashlight. It's it's at like 9:00 at night when I drop it off, and he's asking me, how did they do that? I can even feel, it was just all the things. Yeah. It was way more than he expected.
And he's doing good now?
Oh, yeah. So, let's see, we're in March. So 6 weeks ago, on his birthday, January 19th, they cleared him to walk.
Wow.
That is a long way from, we're going to have to take both feet off. We might have to take both legs off. And we're going to have to decide this in the next 36 hours. That whole thing escalated very quickly. They were on a cruise in Alaska. They had to offboard him. He had an emergency surgery in a bush hospital in Sitka, Alaska. The only reason he's alive today is the doctor that visits 2 days a month happened to stop by to drop off some paperwork. And I talked to him on the phone, and he said, I can't leave. It would be inhumane for me to leave. I can't save his life. I am going to try to do enough in order to be able to put him on a plane and get him back to Nashville so that they can save his life. So I think he was wrong when he said he couldn't save my dad's life, because he really did. Yeah. Otherwise, probably within 48 hours, that would have been the end.
I remember there was a tight deadline for us too. Anthony was like, I got to get in there and get this done to get the car to him. So
yeah,
I know it was pretty.
It was very much My urgency on it is I wanted to be able to at least show my dad a picture of what it looked like before he was gone. So the fact that he is still here today, excited about car show season, is night and day. And when I say this, it's going to sound like I'm overstating it, but I really do believe that helped. What your company did, what you and your team did, helped because he wanted to drive that car. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, he drove it when he bought it, but it was a different car when you guys got done with it. And he was like, I'm not missing car show season. Like,
we'll have to go see him at one.
Absolutely.
We definitely want to meet him.
Absolutely. So in the car space, you guys do a lot, whether we're talking about wraps, whether we're talking about wrapping NASCARs, whether we're talking about custom stripes and, the little details. Mm-hmm. What part of your business would you say that is? Is that half of your business? Is that what people most know you for?
It's about half of our business.
Okay.
So historically, we would bring small format in, and then other things would follow, the signs and cars, things like that. Now we're getting larger customers coming with fleets, and oh, by the way, we can do all these other things for you. So it's about half of our business right now.
Okay.
And we really are focusing on the fleet work. But in between, we'll do the color change and graphics and things like that, do the fun stuff. So
sure.
Yeah, we do it all.
Yeah.
But I would say that's the main focus of the business. And in the future, what we're planning on is that being even more of our business. The signage, because, we'll do the big outdoor signs, like when you're going into neighborhoods and things like that. So we work with companies that do those as well. And I think that's really where we're going with our business, is more that way. And then the small format, follows as a convenience thing.
Okay. So HOAs need to call you.
I mean, we work with Acer right now. They put in all the signage when they do the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so we work with them, and they give us the blueprint. We put the sign in, and we move on to the next one. So it's those kind of partnerships we really like too. Okay. And they're, we work well together.
Yeah.
Everybody has their piece, and we get it done.
We make them look good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I know it's a great partnership in that they're reaching out to you, but at the end of the day, the reason great partnerships are great partnerships is because you both make each other look good.
Yes. And most of the time, there's a problem. The other sign company, let them down in a big way, or so we want to know what those, what they need and where they were, failing, so that we can help them in every way.
Sure. What their pain point is.
Yeah. Pain points, yes.
Yeah.
It's huge.
That's why they come to see you. Mm-hmm. And then, you guys are growing. Are you hiring?
We're looking for installers. We're also, design has been a big, we've also realized that, out of all the designers that there are, everybody has their specialty. Mm-hmm. So from, doing small format, which is one type of designer, to large format, which is another, to vehicle wraps, which is another. And if you don't wrap vehicles, it's hard for you to do the design because you don't know the curves in the car and how things are going to look. And, there's a lot of, you have so many seconds that you need to capture a message. So there's a lot of, I talk about data and things. There's a lot of things that do really matter that I don't think people really pay attention to. And so that's another thing that we bring to the table, because we do have that expertise. So it makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that we both agree on wholeheartedly is that it's got to be data driven.
Yes.
Can we back this up with facts and replicate it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you potentially, as you guys are growing, you need some more designers and you need more installers. Mm-hmm. And so what's the profile for that person? Obviously, you're going to interview them. You're going to have a conversation, see if they're going to be a good fit with your team. But if somebody's watching this and they're wondering if they have the right skill set in order to come talk to you, what are you looking for?
somebody that takes pride in their work. I mean, the biggest thing is you have to be a good culture fit, right? That is the most important thing. And if you are a good culture fit, then we have people that are willing to train you and help you do better. But instead of just talking to people, we want to see what you've done. We want to, show us what you're excited about. Because people, it's one of the hardest things in our business is finding good people.
Yeah.
So, just show us.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah. We're always open to good people.
Yeah. Well, because that's what allows you to grow.
Yes.
It's what allows you to handle a situation when somebody is unexpectedly out. And the team rallies around them.
Yeah. That's
great. So this is a little bit of a fun section of our conversation. And we have not talked about this one. It's slightly controversial. Now, we're not trying to get anybody canceled or anything crazy like that. But it's a section called Things We Think But Do Not Say. So I'll give you one of mine. So one of mine is that we should absolutely, from a young age, talk to our children about money, how it works, how you use it, what it's not, how to misuse it, all those things. Also, another one is winning and losing. I feel like us not keeping score is doing a disservice to a younger generation. Like, there is somebody that won and there is somebody that lost, and we're not, whoever's protecting you from winning and losing is not going to be there to protect you for your whole life. So tell the truth. My child needs to do better, or I need to do better. I lost, or I learned today instead of winning. What's something you think that is just a truth that you feel like people they dance around and is worth saying?
I'm one of those people that really do appreciate people being honest, because if you don't know, you can't fix it.
That's right.
But I think there's a right and a wrong way, to go about that. But yeah, it's not always an A for effort. I will tell you that I don't think there's anybody on our team that doesn't want to win. Which is fun, but it's also, when you don't want the L.
That's right.
Nothing specific comes to mind.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, I think that's a good one in that just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Quit trying to dance around somebody's feelings and just say the thing.
I will say that I was told one time, I think I was working at a cotton gin. I mean, it was one of my first jobs. And the owner looked at me and she said, quit acting like you know everything. And I was like, ouch. But I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. And I do a lot more listening now. So I appreciate people being honest. Yeah. And you don't have to do it in front of people. You don't have to embarrass people, but just being honest and helping elevate everyone.
Yeah.
So
I can't skip over this. Your first job was at a cotton gin?
Well, my very first job was Wendy's.
Okay.
I wanted to work the cash register.
Okay.
That was fun for me. But yes, then I moved to Jackson for a little while, Tennessee. I worked at a cotton gin, and I was a nurse assistant at nursing homes. One of the hardest jobs I've ever had.
Sure.
That was.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, a huge part of why I am the way I am today.
Yeah.
And then I moved back, and then the printing world took over, and so did healthcare.
Okay.
And here I am.
And here you are. Yeah. No. And I look at, it's all the experiences that you have that bring you to where you are today and get you ready for tomorrow. And so some people have had a lazy path that wasn't very exciting, and they didn't learn a whole lot of things. And some of us have had interesting paths, both good and bad, that bring us and get us ready for tomorrow. So that's fun. So because I'm a bowler, I ask everybody this question, and that is, if you were in charge of marketing for a celebrity bowling challenge, your whole goal was to raise as much money as humanly possible with this one bowling event, who is on that team with you? They can be anybody throughout history. They don't have to be living.
Well, it's funny because I actually have some professional bowlers on my team.
Okay, I like it.
So Anthony, I found out, he used to be on a bowling league.
Okay.
And he strikes every time, or bowls a strike every time, however you say it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a very good bowler, so I would be on my own team. His sister was also on a bowling team.
Okay.
And then his son. So this is pretty much Anthony's family because they're all expert bowlers, and I didn't know this until recently. And
I didn't know it either.
It fits. Yeah, you and Anthony need to have a game together. That would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, he is 100% competitive.
I love it. Okay, so you've got Anthony, his family, and you are going to be on this bowling team. You got to pick a commentator. Mm-hmm. Like, so who's gonna call the play-by-play in order to make sure that everybody's paying attention and donating money?
Deb Miller.
Deb Miller. Okay, I like it.
She somebody. I've never seen somebody turn situations into something that didn't think they would be. Raising money. She's an expert at that.
Yeah,
it would be fun.
Okay.
For sure.
That's cool. I love it. Well, somebody out there right now is thinking about starting a business or is thinking about starting a new career, and they're in a tough spot. Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure out, am I headed in the right direction, not headed in the right direction? And because your career has taken several turns in different fields and companies and now kind of coming back home, but with your own twist on it, really retooling your company for what's next. What advice would you give somebody that's maybe trying to make a real decision in their career?
Don't be afraid to try something different, because the one thing that I always tell myself is I don't ever want to look back and regret not doing something. Don't burn bridges. You can always go back if things don't work out. But, again, I just go back to that positive mindset, and I truly believe that you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
I have. Now, I've failed at plenty of things, but if I put my mind to it and really thought it through, I think having a plan is really important. But yeah, don't look at those, that falling down as failure. It's part of the process, and surround yourself with good, positive people that, are also trying to do good. And it's really hard to not move forward when you do that. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine it could have been very easy for you as you came back to the business in 23. You're retooling. You've got it almost exactly where you want it. And then an act of God, a storm, destroys it all. Mm-hmm. You could have very easily been, well, I wasn't supposed to do this. You could have gone back into the healthcare field. You could have done, it would have been, so many people would have used that as an excuse to do something else. Mm-hmm. And you chose not to. You chose to charge forward, knowing that, or feeling that you had made the right choice, and you were just being tested.
Yeah. I mean, and two, the first thing I did was call a friend, Brian and Jennifer. I knew that they had a building, and, the next day after the tornado, because there wasn't a whole lot of places to go. And our biggest thing was, we have 15 families that, rely on us. So how do we make this work? Mm-hmm. And we did.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
I always looked at the lens that I used when I had a large team, even before I had a large team, is that for every one person that was in my company, there were on average 3 people at home. Mm-hmm. And they were depending on me to make the right decision or to be the bad guy. I would tell people up front, if I've made a mistake in hiring you and you come in here and you think that you're going to do things to tear down this group of people that do amazing things, or you're going to put them in jeopardy by having bad judgment, I will be the guy that shows up and fires you. I will be the guy that says, you don't do that here. Mm-hmm. And I would tell them that on day one. In fact, good, bad, or ugly, I would have them write down in their book on day one, Jim is the asshole. And some of them thought I was kidding. I'm like, no, I need you to write that down in big, bold letters in your book right now, and then I'm going to tell you about it. Mm-hmm. And I would tell them, like, you've been through 4 or 5 interviews in order to get to this point. And I've gone to the trouble that I have taken the information I've received about you, and I have committed to memory your name, and I've come in here and I've talked to you. And it's also important for you to understand that I'm also the guy that will make the hard call and say, I'm not going to let you endanger the 500, 800, 1,200 people that count on the income coming from this place. Mm-hmm. So I firmly believe that we've made the right decision. But if we haven't, we will act quickly. Mm-hmm. And you have to do that. You have to be willing to have the backbone to make the call. Mm-hmm. That's just part of it. It's part of being, in fact, I think people get it misconstrued. They say they're in charge when it's actually backwards. If we went back a long time ago, they would say those employees are in your charge, which means you're responsible for them. Mm-hmm. And somewhere along the way, we've twisted it so it's, I'm in charge. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not quite how that works.
No. Well, and I think there's a big difference between, managing people and leading people too. And that's been really, I think about that a lot. I'm actually, I would consider myself not a great manager. I don't like to manage people, but I do love to lead people in the direction that I know we can be successful in. And, a lot of the times I don't even have to fire anybody. Mm-hmm. The rest of the team will say, hey, they're not a good fit here, and they leave. But we do a 90-day, it's not just for us to make sure you're a good fit. It's for you to make sure that you like it here.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't like it here, do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
I mean, for real. That's important too. Don't stick here just for a check. You can stay here as long as you need to, but do what you like. Go into work every day and enjoy what you do.
Yeah, you're going to spend a lot of time doing it. You should be around people that you like.
Yes.
And doing work that you enjoy and are proud of. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, absolutely.
It's been super exciting.
Yeah.
Where we're going, and I can't say that I'd change anything at this point.
Okay.
There's so many great things happening, and so many doors being opened, and so many wonderful people, coming through the doors that I wouldn't change anything.
And we're almost at car show season.
Yes.
I mean, that's right around the corner.
Yes.
That doesn't hurt.
No.
Okay, so you are a Corvette girl through and through. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite Corvette?
I didn't like the C8 until I drove it.
Okay.
And now it's my favorite.
Okay.
It is so much fun. Now I got the Z06, so it's a little more power.
Sure.
But I've worked my way up to that, so the C8 is my favorite.
Okay.
I will say that I recently drove an electric car, and I will never own one. Mm-hmm. It messes with my senses too much. But yeah, I love Corvettes. I will always have Corvettes.
Yeah. I actually had a team member that's here in Middle Tennessee, and we worked together for several years. And he has a sales job where he drives a couple 100 miles a day. And for 18 months, he drove a C8 every day. and he tested the waters. After that, he traded his Tesla for the C8, and then now he's in Porsche. Mm-hmm. But
good choice.
He's a big car guy, so he's that's his thing. So
yeah. Well, there's actually have you heard of 111 Motorsports?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're doing some stuff for them too, and that's again something that is really exciting, and not a lot of people have the opportunity to see the behind the scenes and all those cool cars and stuff. So it's really fun.
I did not understand until I actually started working with Exotic Autosport, Lane and those guys down there, Lane and Mike and the team. I did not understand just how deep the exotic car scene is in Middle Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Way more cars than I ever anticipated. Mm-hmm.
You don't see them very often, but
you don't see them. But when you do see them, they travel in packs.
They do.
In fact, one of the charity runs, the Annie Rose Foundation. Mm-hmm. So I was out there this past year for that one, and it was raining that day. Mm-hmm. And so, I didn't exactly know where I was going. So, but when I saw, 2 or 3 Porsches in front of me, 2 or 3 Porsches behind me, I thought, well, I'm in the right space. And I called Don. I said, I'm pretty sure I'm in the right place. And he goes, well, how do you know that? And I said, well, there's a lot of Porsches around me. He goes, oh, that's because it's raining. And I said, do what? And he goes, well, they left the supercars at home. They're willing to drive the Porsche in the rain. And it took me a minute to absorb that. That were, the Porsche's the one that they were willing to get wet. Now, obviously, some of them, in fact, there was one guy that brought 6 cars.
Yeah.
And, he's probably got $2.5 million worth of cars in the parking lot. But they came out for a great reason, great charity. So,
and they always, things like that normally do very well.
Oh, yeah.
So, one other thing that we are talking about doing is a lemon race, the 24-hour lemon race.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
I have not.
So you only have so much money to put into a junk car. So like a police interceptor is what you want to go with because they're fast and, they're already built. But we have talked with some of the NASCAR drivers and getting their hauler and showing up with our lemon car and our backup car and having NASCAR drivers out there. Tell me we can't win.
Oh, that's great. That's
but,
great.
All of us are so excited about doing something like that, and it's just for fun. But 24-hour race, you all have to take turns driving a team of 4.
That's
It'll be
great.
fun.
Awesome. You'll have to keep me posted on that one. That's going to be
sure.
a good one. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a good one. All right. So last question is, have you put any thought into how you want to be remembered?
I have.
Yeah.
I have. There are some people that I think about often, and they all have done good for somebody or something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be remembered as somebody that did everything that I could to elevate everyone around me, to smile, to bring that, light to somebody, even through my own hard times, to still be that light. You never know what people are going through, and I just, that's important to me.
Yeah.
And so I want to be remembered as that person that
that helped
gave
you
it their
feel,
best shot.
Helped you feel hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
In some way or another.
Yeah.
Or made you smile.
There you go. That's good.
The little things.
It is the little things. It is the little things. Well, Miss Amber, please tell everybody out there listening, how do they get in touch with you? If they want to do business with you, they've got an Airbnb that they want custom and to look like nothing else, so that their customers get a great experience, or they've got a brand new car that they're looking at, or they've got an old car that they want to look new again, or they have a branding problem. How do they do business with the Brand Boss?
So we have a few different ways that you can reach out. First off, we don't have a phone tree. When you call, you will get a person on the phone. I don't know if I give a number or not, but
absolutely.
Our phone number is 615-822-0037. Our website is www.bbprintingco.com, and then our auto club, we have bbAutoClub.com.
Okay.
Both, show different sides of the business and what we do, and we do share our personal cell phones too. Although family time is important for us, we are always available when people need us. So, and then you can email us at info@bbprintingco.com as well.
And then you're located there in Hendersonville?
Yes, we're right at the edge of Rivergate, 777 West Main, right next to Bryant's Motorsports. And then our other location is a mile further into Hendersonville, in between Jiffy Lube and KFC. That's 334 West Main.
Okay.
We deliver, ship nationwide. Again, whatever makes it easy for people.
That's right.
We'll do it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us and sharing your story a bit.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you for what you did for my family.
You're welcome.
And what you do for your customers, because it absolutely shows, and you got a great reputation out in the marketplace. I don't want to call you like a diamond in the rough, because you guys are so polished. It's just, I don't think enough people know where you're at and how to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, on top of everything else, we don't expect people we want to earn your business. So let us show you what we can do, and I'll, leave it at that, because actions speak louder than words.
I love it. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, team, if you're out there, if you're looking for, like I say, to customize that Airbnb, to add some flair to your current home, to customize the color of your car, if you've got a fleet, if you've just got a brand problem, or you want to level up your game in that regard, reach out to Miss Amber Kerby and her team at BB Printing Co. here in Hendersonville, Tennessee. 777 Main.
West Main.
777 West Main. And they will take fantastic care of you like they have taken care of my family. Until next time, I want you to take some wisdom from Miss Amber and continue to charge forward. Take care. Team, is Jim Cripps here with the Charge Forward podcast. I just want to tell you, I love you. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you for subscribing and sharing the Charge Forward podcast with people you know and you love, because that's what we're here for. We are here to share the amazing stories, the things that people have been through, the ways that they were able to improve their life so that you can take little nuggets from theirs and help improve your story and be better tomorrow than you were today. I hope that this is the tool you needed at the right time and that you find value in the amazing guests that we bring each and every week. Thanks so much, and don't forget, new episodes drop every Thursday.